We're going to go ahead and start tonight's program.
No, because I don't see my
Come on over here, don't be shy, there's plenty of seating. For those of you that don't already know me, my name is Norris Trevino, and I'm on the HRC board for Silicon Valley, and I lead our community relations group. So thank you all, first of all, for coming here tonight. This is one of my babies for the next year, at least. Tonight we're going to... Tonight I'm going to talk about our 2008 HRC committee for the South Bay. We'll have Frank give us a political update from when we went to Lobby Day in Washington, D.C. Save the dates, so we've got a bunch of really awesome events coming up, so make sure you pull out your Blackberries and are ready to mark down those dates. I'll talk about tonight's speakers, and then I'll leave up Tom's information as well as mine in case anybody has any questions or wants to follow up with anything. So this is our HRC 2008 committee. We're definitely looking for long-term volunteers, so if anybody is interested in volunteering, please contact myself, Tom, Frank, anybody on this list, because we'd be more than happy to talk to you about some long-term volunteering events. We've got some major projects coming up that we could use some help on. And introduce you to Frank Lau on our political team.
Good evening. Can everyone hear me? Okay.
A little bit louder.
Louder? How's that? Okay. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Frank Liao. I'm on the Silicon Valley Committee for HRC, heading up our efforts in the political area as well as donor relations. And I wanted to talk to you tonight a little bit about what HRC's been up to in the month of March. Our biggest event that happened was on March 6th. On Thursday, March 6th, HRC National organized an event called Lobby Day. Myself, Norris, and 234 other volunteers paid their own way to Washington, D.C. to lobby members of Congress for LGBT legislation. This is obviously a huge event. People came from all over the United States, from 26 states. We met with representatives from both sides of the aisle, both Democrat and Republican, as well as independents. And the purpose of that, of course, was to ask specifically and to draw their attention to LGBT legislation that we were asking for their vote for, or either to co-sign legislation if they were already leaning towards that side. That is our very own Norris Trevino standing in front of the Supreme Court. Yeah, the pink cast is there, so you know it's her. And you know it was recent. So these were the top priorities that we were asking members of Congress about. The first and foremost and most important legislation that we were asking about was the inclusive version of the Employment Non-Discrimination Act, also known as House Resolution 2015. This is still in committee, and so we were definitely meeting with representatives, encouraging them to meet with other members and convince them, because that is probably one of the most persuasive ways to get other votes, is to get their colleagues to sit down with them and explain to them why this legislation is important. Other top priorities were increased funding for HIV/AIDS prevention programs. For those of you who you may or may not know, but as the budgets have been passed over the last few years, the funding for the CDC has been decreasing steadily. And particularly, funding for HIV/AIDS prevention programs has been being funneled away into abstinence-only education programs. So we were encouraging members of Congress, especially ones who sit on the Appropriations Committee, to try and reverse that trend, because abstinence-only education has been proven to not have the effect that it's been intended to have. So we'd like that money to go back into HIV/AIDS prevention. Also, we were asking for the elimination of the taxation of domestic partnership benefits. So if you take a domestic partnership benefit that's treated as taxable income to you, we're hoping to get that eliminated. And We're also asking them to extend domestic partnership benefits to federal civil employees. That's definitely something because, as the free market moves towards that, we have many Fortune 500 companies who realize that this is important to retain talent. We'd like the federal government to be moving in that direction as well. And also the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So with that, are there any questions about any of the things that I talked about? Or?
No, but bravo.
Thank you. All right, with that, I'll hand it back to Maurice.
I have a question.
Oh.
How was the reaction from the legislators that you met?
Which legislator?
In general.
The reception was pretty positive. We were able to meet, schedule, I don't remember the exact number of meetings, but probably in the hundreds. With 236 people, we had to divide up into groups of about 4 or 5, walking all over the Hill, meeting with people, and if not, oftentimes we met with representatives and senators themselves. If not, we were definitely able to meet with their staff and get them to start taking notes about what was important to their constituents. So, anything else? Yes?
The last act, repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy?
Yes.
It's a military kind of thing, so
Yes.
what is the time frame for for the United States, like a developed country, to meet other countries' standards around the world?
As the question was, what's the time frame?
Yeah, what time frame does it promise? Are they dilly-dallying on it?
Well, under this current administration, the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy is going to stand. So as long as he's still there, we're going to have this, unless, by some act of God, he's going to sign this bill. But until then, I mean, it really depends. This is something where we're looking forward to the next administration. Depending on which party gets in there, we may be able to convince them to sign the bill, or depending on who gets elected in there, they could do it with an executive order as well, which would just simply eliminate the purpose of we wouldn't need a bill.
Are they
So,
willing to do it if the Democrats come in?
I'm sorry?
Is there high consensus if the Democrats come in and they're willing to do it?
Yes, I believe, I want to say, don't quote me on this though, that Hillary and Obama have both said that they will do away with Don't Ask, Don't Tell. Anything else? All right, well thank you very much, and I'll hand it back to Maurice.
So pull out your BlackBerries. We've got some really exciting events coming up. Symantec is our next workplace panel, and that's happening on Wednesday, April 30th. And I'm not sure how many of you went to the EA event, but I can tell you that it was spectacular. We had a great group of folks not only attending, but also speaking at the event. And Symantec should be equally, if not better. The next one after that is Chevron, and that's on Wednesday, June 25th. And then, of course, we have my baby, third Tuesdays, every month except for December. Then we have the HRC 2008 Bay Area Gala. This is a huge dinner event that Tom is co-chairing. And I can tell you from the lineup that I'm not allowed to tell you about, it's going to be awesome. And that's going to be Saturday, July 26th. You can talk to Tom or myself if you're interested in getting more information and or tickets. We're also going to have a bunch of pre-gala events. We're looking at Sonoma, Sky Vodka, Ted Baker, and many more. Again, we can get you some more information on those events after. Now tonight we have 3 speakers, all coming to us from San Jose State University, and they are the first university in California, I believe even in the United States, that has banned blood drives because of the FDA's rule that basically prevents gay men who have had sexual relations in the last 30 years